Welcome to a new episode of Morgana Radio, where I, your host, Morgana Ray, interview the world's most fascinating thought leaders on money, love, and magic. And I'm very excited to introduce you to today's guest, Alina Vincent. And Alina has been in my consciousness not that long, just a couple of years, but what's been fascinating to me is it seems like she came out of nowhere and in no time at all was suddenly at the top of all these big leaderboards when my friends are doing their online launches and really creating a movement on Facebook and social media and getting clients. And it's like, where did this person come from? And how did she get so quickly what normally takes the people I know years and years to do? So I was curious. And that's why I booked her for today. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So Alina is known as a fast growth and technology strategist. She is the founder of Business Success Edge. She helps savvy entrepreneurs position their brand to effortlessly attract premium clients and cash. Alina works with business owners who are serious about big impact and big profits, and they want to shorten their path to success a lot like she did. She is a #1 Amazon bestseller of 2 books, and she is gifted in her ability to simplify complex ideas to actionable result-generating steps. Excuse me. If you want to benefit from smart strategy, intuitive guidance, that's the magic piece, and to focus on the end result from the very first point of contact, then I invite you to get to know Alina. And today's topic is high profit program secrets. So if you want to create more time and freedom in your life and claim expert status and stop slaving yourself for dollars for hours and hitting that energetic ceiling before you make the money you want to make, this is something you really want to learn how to do. So Alina is going to show you how to create your first or your next highly profitable online training, and she will show you how you can take the limits off of your income while spending more time living the life you love. And what you will take away on this call, you will discover how to find the hot idea for that money-making online program, the 3 biggest mistakes that business owners make with their first program. I'm very curious about that. And finally, the truth about pricing your program that nobody else will tell you. So welcome, Alina.
Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful introduction. And I'm such a pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. So what is your secret? First of all, how did you become so successful so quickly? What is your secret?
It's a perfect question because I started my whole entire success started with creating my very first program. That's kind of what started me. That's how I started getting clients. That's how I started getting noticed. So everything that happened in my business in a very short time, less than 2 years, it all started with the moment I decided, hey, I'm going to create my very first program. So perfect setup question.
Oh, that's beautiful, because usually people kind of float around in the one-on-one world for a long time before they develop a program, and you dove right in. So,
well, not on purpose. I really tried for about 2 or 3 months to get high-paying clients and just kind of step back a little bit. You ask where I came from. So I actually spent like the first 20 years of my career teaching at the university. I have 2 master's degree. I have like a degree in theoretical physics and computer science and engineering. So I was teaching, I was an instructional designer, and I thought like academic world was my thing. And then at one day it was just not enough. So I started my own business, and for 2 years I did marketing photography. And I quickly outgrew that because I was missing the teaching. I was missing like, let me help more people versus just doing the one-on-one. And that's when I stepped into the business coaching. And what I hit was everybody would say, why would I get business advice from a photographer? Or who are you? I've never heard of you. Or why would I hire you and be your one-on-one client? So the program sort of came out of necessity because I was like, I need to start making some money. I have so much to share. I have all of this knowledge. I have so much I can do for people, and nobody would hire me one-on-one.
Oh.
So I started my program because I'm like, okay, it's going to be very affordable. I'm going to try to get as many people as I can, and I'm going to teach them and I'm going to show them what I know. And that's how I got my first one-on-one clients, the people who came after that program, after they realized that I actually have something to share. So it's a very interesting story.
Yeah. Brilliant. I had no idea the photography background and the very, very impressive academic background.
Yeah, it's been fun. But one of the things that I'm kind of going to jump into one of the bullet points that I wanted to share with you. It's how do you come up with the idea for your first program, and how do you monetize your knowledge? And one of the biggest mistakes that I've made when I started my business, I was looking at it as it's a new chapter. It's a brand new book. It's almost like I took everything that I've done in my life up until that point and I threw it away. And I said, oh, I can't use my master's degree for this. I can't use my this or that experience. I started my business today. So it's like from this point on, what can I do? And it wasn't until I embraced everything that I did for 30 years before that, that I realized how much I had to share. So that's what I tell people, that doesn't matter how long you've been in business, doesn't matter how long you've been doing what you're doing, you have all of this years, expertise, experience, life lessons in your life that other people are waiting to hear, and they need you to tell them about it.
I'm so glad you said that. None of it is wasted.
No. And it was interesting because I didn't, even when I kind of started embracing it, I didn't see how all the pieces fit together. It's like, well, I just wasted 2 years being a photographer because it doesn't help me as a business coach. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's all the visual marketing. It's all the, how do you present yourself? It's how do you see people? And, oh, my computer science degree doesn't do anything. It's like, well, but it's all the technology. It's all the, like, every single thing, every single, like, even from my childhood and where I grew up, and it made me who I am today, and it makes me the perfect person for my ideal clients.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So what was your first program?
Oh, my first program was, actually, you started talking about it a little bit, is I was teaching people how to get clients from Facebook. Because what I did completely unconsciously when I was doing my photography business is I got a coach who told me to get on all the social media, and I liked Facebook the most. And I was doing a lot of just everyday posts on Facebook, and I started getting clients. I started getting clients who I've never talked to before. I started getting clients flying from all over the country to shoot with me. And when people started asking me, like, how did you get so big so fast in photography business? I'm like, it must be like, it's all the stuff that I do on Facebook. So one of the ways how you can come up with an idea for your topic is listen to what people are asking you about. So because people were asking me, how did you do all of this stuff on Facebook? I said, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to create a program around how to get clients from Facebook. And that was my first program. And I started, was less than 2 years ago. And that's what got me noticed by big affiliate partners. That's what helped me grow my list. That's what got me a lot of money and grew my business. And it started as a small program, and now it's a full-blown program. I have a couple hundred people who graduated from it, and it's been an amazing process.
Bravo, bravo. And by the way, those of you listening on iTunes now, because we have a visually oriented guest, remember that we're videoing this also, so you can see what we look like and the beautiful blue that matches Alina's eyes, and the crazy things that our faces are doing as we're having this interview, if you want to catch the video version of this also. So, okay. What are the 3 biggest mistakes that business owners make with their first program?
There's probably more than 3, so I was just thinking which ones did I want to talk about. So the most obvious one is they make the whole process too complicated. I hear it so much that oh, I need to have a website, I need to have a VA, I need to invest in all this technology, I have to like research for years, and only then I can make my program. And the biggest mistake is don't make it complicated. Keep it simple, the easiest way possible. You don't have to go with the high professional videos. You don't have to have membership sites. You don't have to have a full blown 25 modules with coaches that helping you do it. You can start very simple with just audio files or PDF documents, and whatever you can do, just get that knowledge out. So keep it simple. So that would be probably number one. Don't you know people like that who just they say, oh, I have to get this in place and this in place and that in place before I can go and create a program.
And each one of those things that you need to get in place is such a huge mountain of things to learn and figure out in technology. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be that bad.
Well, and it doesn't even have to have that much technology. The very first program I created, I used free Facebook groups. I used free Dropbox account. I just used my video on my iPad. So I don't think I invested a penny in actually running my very first program. And then I ran it again and again and again. It's still the same videos that I recorded a couple of years ago, and people are loving it. It's very little has to do with the delivery, and I mean, it's nice when it looks professional, but when people want the results that you provide, when they want the information, it doesn't matter what kind of bow you wrapped around the whole thing. It matters that they're getting the results.
Okay, so that's mistake number one, and that's a really, by the way, for those of you who want to find excuses to not create your first program, I recommend that one. That one will keep you spinning your wheel for years. What's the second biggest mistake that business owners make?
The second one is spending a lot of time and effort creating it before they take it to the public. That's probably the one that costs you the most. I've actually talked to a person not that long ago, and she said she spent 6 months. She hired a team, she did the videos, she created all the content, she had this beautiful program created, and then she said, who wants to buy it? And nobody wanted it. And she went through such a depression, and she was just, it's not a good feeling when you create this baby that you put so much time and effort into it just to find out that it wasn't quite what the market wants. Yeah. So my recommendation for everybody is sell the program first and then create it. You want to right away go to the market. That's what I did with my program. I went and I said, I think people are asking them how I'm getting clients from Facebook. I think I'm going to create a program. Who wants in? And people said, of course, of course. I'm like, okay, send me the money and we'll start next Tuesday. And I had 43 people in my very first pilot program. And I created it after I already had all of them paying me money and all of them got committed. So I knew that was something that people really wanted. So the mistake is don't put all the time and effort creating something until you know that people actually want it.
I'm going to hope a certain girlfriend of mine listens to this episode because she hired a very fancy, expensive coach, and she's been working on building her membership program for months, if not a year by now. And I'm like, it shouldn't be that hard.
It's not. And the whole process of creating a program with the live audience is going to give you so many twists and turns, because what you think people want versus what people actually want is not always the same thing. So I like co-creating. I've created in the last 2 years probably 8 or 9 programs. I'm kind of addicted. I love it, and it's easy. And every single one I created in a live environment. So people have time to give me feedback. I love this should be improved, and if you still have questions about that. And as I'm creating it, I keep adding those elements. So when the program is done, I know it addresses everything that real people with that problem need. So that's another beauty of doing it live after you sell it.
Yeah, excellent. And what is the third mistake?
The third one is very, very common, and it's the mistake itself is putting too much into your program, because we are such intricate human beings and we know so much, and there's so much knowledge in us that when we want to help somebody, we just dumping everything we know into this, like, here's everything you need to know. And in case of creating programs, less is actually more. You really want to focus on one specific problem and solve just that one problem thoroughly and completely, but not with everything you know. So almost every person, not every person, but a big majority of people who go through my program, even though they hear me say that, they still, after they run their first program, they say, I tried to do too much. So doesn't matter how much, sorry.
Well, for me as the consumer who buys way too many programs out there, it's a horrible feeling for me as the client when I purchase the program and I log in and there are 100 videos. Oh my God, I could just cry because it just feels too big, insurmountable, intimidating, and I want something, yes, overwhelming. I feel like I lost before I even began, and I may not even come back. Mm-hmm. So we hear it as teachers, but really, look at it from the eyes of your students. Make it easy, make it simple. Give them something that they can win at.
And here's the thing. That one program doesn't have to have everything, because you can have part 1, part 2, part 3 if there's more. Mm-hmm. You can have solutions to very specific problems. So more a la carte you create your programs, the easier it is for people. So instead of having a program on how to grow your business, that includes everything on list growing, JVing, creating programs, doing live events, doing podcasts, all of that stuff, instead of doing it in one, have a specific one. How to do podcasts, how to do live events, how to JV. People will be so much likely to buy it because it's a specific solution to a very specific question.
Yeah, it's the missing piece that they need, whereas they may already have the other stuff and they don't want to have to wade through it. So, okay, my favorite topic being the money lady. What is the truth about pricing your online program that nobody else will tell us?
Oh, so it's my pet peeve, and I hear all of the big gurus in the industry giving a different advice. So this is why I'm calling it like something that I did and it works, but nobody else tells me about. So you hear a lot that you need to charge what you're worth, that your time is valuable, your information is valuable. So how do you price your program? So one of the advices I got when I was first started thinking of a program is think of how much money people can make if they get all of those results. And of course, then the program should be worth $10,000, $20,000. And we're like, okay, so we'll discount it to maybe $1,000 or $2,000. And still you're giving them enormous amount of value. So when you're going right out of the gate, when you're not very known, you don't have a following, you're just starting out, you don't have a proven track record, and you say, I have this program for $2,000, nobody will buy it. Even if it's $1,000, nobody will buy it. Even if it's $500, you might start getting some people interested, but it's not enough if this is your first time in the industry trying to create an information product, because people are just not used to buying information from you. So my advice is price it as low as you can. My very first program, I sold it for $57. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's one of those things where you say, do you want it? Do you want in? And they go, how can I not want to be in? Because you're still giving them the value of 10,000, of 20,000, because it's still the same information, but you're making it irresistible. And so what I did is I offered it for $57. 2 months later, I offered the exact same program with the exact same instructions and videos and everything for $297. And I got 90 people in it. Then I increased it to $997, and I actually spoke on stage at that time, and I think I made $28,000 on that same program that started with $57. Now this program sells for $2,000, but it's a process. It took me a year and a half to get there. If I would have started at $2,000, I would have still been sitting there crying and saying nobody likes me. Because you start where you are, so it doesn't mean that you're worth less. It doesn't mean that you're delivering less. It just, this is where it's you're paying your dues and saying who wants this and making it completely irresistible offer. So when I teach my program on how to create programs, I tell my students, price it at 97, price it at 197, and it's directly proportional to how many people know about you, how long you've been doing this, what's your proven track record, how many followers do you have, and if you've sold any other informational products before.
Beautiful.
And then you can double it, you can triple it, you can 10 times your price. And that's the little step that seems to be missing from other people's
Oh my God, yeah, that's totally different than what I hear elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with what you're saying, is it's a first date.
Yes. It's kind of like, here's a sample. Now that you know how much I can do, look, I have another program. So the very first program I sold for $57. The next program I started, my starting price was $97. My third or fourth one, my initial price was $497, and I had people buy. So as your reputation grows, like I now have people who say, I don't care what your program is called or what you're teaching, as long as it's business related, I'm in. It's like once you get to that point, you can dictate your own prices.
Yeah.
When you're first starting out, it's a different place.
Oh yeah, there are coaches who I don't care what they're offering, sign me up, and I'll find out once I'm in, because I am in their tribe and I trust them.
Mm-hmm. But it takes a little bit of time to get to that point.
Well, yeah, and they're very generous, and the coach I'm thinking of, I've been following him for 11 years. I didn't start out saying, here's my money.
Yeah, exactly. I have people like that too. Where
Yeah.
Like you're doing a launch. Of course I want it. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I want
Whatever.
it.
Yeah.
I know it's going to help me. I know it's going to skyrocket my business.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I know that you have a gift to get people started on this journey. Do you want to talk about what you have for us?
Yes, and that's where I was kind of going, because I kind of answered the very first question on how to come up with ideas for your program,
Yeah.
but not as completely as I could. So my gift, my free gift to all of you, is actually a guide on how to figure out the hot, profitable idea for your program. And it's a series of, I think it's about 10 pages of questions. So it's not something we need to read. It's something you can easily do in 10, 15 minutes. And basically what I would like you to do is download it, print it, and sit there in a quiet space and just write the question, write the answers. And they're very simple questions. Like, if I woke you up in the middle of the night and I told you you had to go and speak for 15 minutes without rehearsing, without looking anything up, what would you speak about? It's those kind of questions that really help you figure out, if I cut out the noise, what do I want to talk about? If I couldn't look anything up, if I couldn't practice, if I couldn't prepare, what do I know in my heart? What do I know that is in my head? And those are perfect topics for your first program. And also, how do people view you? What is that process that you keep taking people through? What are those 3 steps that you keep repeating? What do people come to you and say, I can't believe you've done it again? How do you do this? Like, a lot of people come to me and say, how did you do it so fast? So everything I teach is all about shortcuts. It's all about how do you accelerate? How do you go fast through things and get good results in a pretty short period of time, because I'm listening to what people are saying. And anytime somebody says, like, how did you do it? I'm like, that's an idea for another program. So the gift is basically called 3 Steps to Find Your Hot Program Idea Today. And I hope you use it, because not only tells you how to identify your main idea, but also how to narrow down to something that people want. Not just because you're passionate about it, but it's something that's also marketable and people would want to pay money for.
Well, and that's critical, because I discovered it's very, very, very easy to sell something people want. And it doesn't matter how many skills and classes and programs and tactics you employ, it's torture to try to sell something people don't want.
Yeah. Well, it also, the language you use in describing it. So I'm going to give you an example of, so my program right now is called Get Clients from Facebook. When I originally thought of this idea, and I was coming off of being a marketing photographer, being this visual expert, I was going to call it something like visual marketing on Facebook. And of course, my coach at the time said, I don't even know what that means. And I definitely don't want it. So I'm teaching the same thing, like that I would teach in the other program. I just changed the title to something that people want. So when you're naming your program and then describing it to people, you need to use the words that people want and mostly result oriented versus something that you think that they need to learn.
Right. Huge, very important distinction. And what it also occurs to me, because this is, I think, the most painful part of the history of anybody's business is the what do I offer, what do I sell? Because everything is built on that. So you need to get that first. So this isn't just a program, but it's actually, it sounds like your guidebook is useful for people who are starting their business. And
and that's what I teach. I actually have an event coming up where we're going to spend 3 days on creating the program, but I'm also going to teach people how to build an entire business around that program. And you can have more programs, but everything, I said that at the very beginning, everything that I've done in my business started with that one program. And when you have that core offer, and it doesn't even have to be your signature program, it just has to be knowledge in the package that people want. Then every day you wake up and you say, do I want to do a webinar? Of course. And then the webinar will sell my program. Do I want to create a freebie? Of course. And the freebie will link to that program. Do I want a JV? Of course. And this is what I'm going to offer to sell to my JV partners. Do I want to grow my list? Yes. So everything you do, it takes all the guesswork out of the equation because everything leads back to this core program that you might have.
You're just recycling the same language over and over again for all these different formats. It's really easy.
Yes. And I feel like a lot of business owners, especially when they're first starting out, they're trying this, like they do a webinar, but they don't know what their offer is. Or they're going to go speak. They get a speaking opportunity and they're like, what am I offering? So having that offer, having that program, and that's what makes you marketable and promotable. It's really hard for me to promote somebody who doesn't have a program. Because, like, what do I tell people? He's great. Go check them out.
Nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. It opens so many doors and it solves all of the questions that people wake up in the morning and say, what should I do for my business? Because if you have that program that's proven, you know you're going to do something to give it to more people, to widen the reach, to get more people change their lives because of whatever it is you're teaching them.
So beautiful. Thank you. So first of all, we have this download to help you, viewer, listener, find your hot, high profit program that you can build a whole business around. We learned the 3 biggest mistakes that keep people stuck from creating their first program. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super techy, and it doesn't need too much material. And finally, oh my God, this was definitely my favorite piece. You don't have to be charging the $2,000 out the gate. Now, some of you listening are going, $2,000? What are you talking about? That's crazy. That's big. Alina and I live in this weird universe of coaches and internet marketers for whom $2,000 is like a small offer. So our worldview is just weird that way. But for real folks, like your customers, yes, give yourself permission to like step out of the pissing contest.
Yeah. If it's 100, make it 10. If it's 10, make it $1.
Yeah. Just make it easy so that you can get lots of customers, lots of fans, lots of testimonials that will carry you to the next level. And you too can start with a $57 product that grows to $2,000. I knew a woman over 15 years ago named Alexandra Brown, Allie Brown, who was one of the earliest in our circle to be breaking the 6 figures and the 7 figures. But I knew her when she was just starting out, and her initial very first product when she was the Easing Queen was $42 and included a half-hour one-on-one coaching session with her. And eventually she was selling that same product without any contact with her for $2,000, and you had to pay her $100,000 to coach with her. So you get to start small and grow from there. And thank you so much for stating that, because nobody else is saying that.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I teach, just kind of real quickly, is the goal for your very first offer for your introductory pilot program is never to make money. It's to prove the concept, prove that you can provide the results. It's to get the success stories and testimonials, and basically show the world that it's possible. It's and create it. So it's never to make money. You make money on for years and years and years to come. But the very first one is not to make money. It's to get people to invest in you, even though they might be not quite sure they should be, and proving to them how amazing you are. Yeah.
Yay. And you are amazing. So be sure to go to morganaradio.com to click on the free gift and get started with your first or next high profit program. And you can catch the replay and you can watch the video and learn more about Alina, again, at morganaradio.com. Thank you so much, Alina.
Thank you so much, Morgana.